The Lords of Salem is a tale set in the year 1696. The story begins with a man writing in his diary about 7 women who worship the devil in the jungles of Salem, and he has a plan to kill every one of them. These 7 women are performing a ritual, the purpose of which is to create devils within the women of Salem. The name of the most significant ritual in the sadhu practices was Margaret Mulg. Following that, we realize it is Monday, and we are introduced to a girl named Head. She is the host of a radio channel. She is living in an apartment on Cries. She goes out of her room to receive the newspaper. She feels as if there is someone in room number 5, whereas room number 5 was vacant for a long time, so she asks if there is a new tenant, but she does not get any response, and the door is closed. Then Hetty goes out to walk his dog, and she asks the landlord about that tenant. She responds by saying, "I'm not ready to have any tenants there, but I saw someone there just 5 minutes ago." She is quite lazy. I will check the room one more time to clear up your confusion. After the window is opened, she goes to see room number 5, but she finds it locked. Seeing this, she comes back. Then, later at night, when Katie is heading home from the radio station, she finds a box at the reception that is meant for her. She did not know where that box came from. There is a sound recorder inside the box, and it has only the lots written on it. Anyway, she picks up that box and takes it home along with her friend Harmon. After reaching home, Harmon plays that recorder, but it does not work. After this, when the Head plays it, it starts working immediately. There was a very dangerous kind of music in that tape recorder. As soon as she hears it from audio, she starts getting weird. Immediately after this, we are watching a scene from 63rd century. In this, the same thing is taking out a baby from a woman's stomach. She takes out her baby, and that baby is a normal human baby. Seeing this, she kills the baby. Seeing Head in this state, Harmon turns off the music. He asks Head if she is okay. Hetty tells him that I am suddenly feeling a little tired and I want to sleep. After that, Hetty goes to sleep. Harmon also goes to sleep. Hetty is going to her room, but it seems that someone else is also present there with her, but Hetty does not pay attention to that. The next day is Tuesday, and on that day a writer named Francis Mathaz comes on Hetty's radio. He sold a book called Saturn written by Leston, the topic of which was Salem, which is there they play the same recorder, and everyone names it as the Laws of Salem. As soon as the recorder is played on its channel, the condition of the heading starts deteriorating again. The heading mutes it, but it is still audible and can be heard. After this, their session gets completed. Francis asks him, "Where did you get this recorder from?" She says, "I don't know from where did this come to me." Francis goes home and asks his wife about his interview. She says, "I have recorded the whole interview." Francis asks, "Did you record that music also?" She says, "I have recorded that music also." Francis had heard the name the Lords of Shivam earlier, but he was not able to remember anything. Hetty reaches her home, is going towards her room, then Lazy calls her and introduces her to her sister. Sony calls Megan to make Hetty sit with them. But Hetty's dog was hungry, so she goes to her room first. While Hetty is feeding her dog, a woman stands behind her for a long time, but Hetty does not notice. Then she goes down to join the others and realizes that Megan might get caught. Then she shows him her hand. Meghna tells him that you should control your mind. And slowly she starts talking to him in a very Jeep manner. She behaves rudely with Hetty, which Hetty does not like, and she gets up and leaves from there. At midnight, she hears the sound of the door and goes to see him. She sees that her door is standing at the door of room number 5. She takes it from there, and the door of room number 5 opens automatically. Hetty goes inside, and the door closes automatically. A cross mark is seen inside. Hetty gets very scared after seeing it, and at the same time something very scary is standing behind her. Then we see that the same thing which was behind Head is coming from the front, and it feels as if something is coming out of the world. The door opens and Head comes out, and outside she sees Margaret Margun, who is asking for a child from Hetty. Hetty's eyes open immediately. She believes it is a dream and falls asleep again. To stop this, Hetty picks up her dog and heads to a church. There, the father speaks to her, but soon he begins to misbehave and tells her that no one can save her. Suddenly, her eyes open, and the father tells her she has been sleeping there. She quickly runs outside and sits down. Then she sees a strange man coming towards her from the front, and he also has a knife with him, and in no time, that man also disappears. After searching a lot, Frances finds a book of Jonathan, which has 5 pages which are written. In that book, Jonathan had called those 7 who is the lords of Salem, and had written that on September 27, 1696, Jonathan had caught those who is, but Margaret had also accepted that they worship Satan, and they are being burnt alive. Was being burnt. There were some music notes at the end of those pages. That music is played on the piano, and it becomes the same music that Hetty had found. On Thursday, Frances goes to the writer of that book and asks about the same diary. In return, he mentions that he does not possess that diary, but he has read every part of it. He then questions Frances if there is anything that was not included in that book and you have not read it. Afterward, he describes Margaret's situation and explains that when Margaret was being burned, she had declared that the daughters born to the daughters of Salem should be killed, and that the devil would also be born from them. Hey, Hetty tells Harmon that whenever I listen to that music, something starts happening to me. Again, darling, Hetty starts coughing, and after coughing, blood comes out of her mouth. Harmon gets scared and immediately calls an ambulance. Then Hed sees that some strange people are standing behind Harmon. One of these men touches Harmon, and he dies immediately. Then they catch Hed too. They cut his stomach and tear it open and take out a diamond-like creature from his stomach. After this, she wakes up again. Daddy is unable to comprehend what all of this means. What is right and what is wrong? Her mental abilities are also becoming severely disrupted, and to escape from all of this, she begins taking drugs. On Friday, while she is taking drugs, suddenly there is a knock on her door. She goes to see. There, the 3 sisters are standing there. She calls them inside. On the other hand, Frances is doing research about Hetty, where he finds out that Eddie's real name is Adel Hed Anisept. After some research, he finds out that she's also a girl who came under Jonathan's bet. He immediately calls Edie, who is a phone megahertz Hetty. She says it's a wrong number and hangs up. Hetty faints, and the 3 sisters take her to room number 5. Lazy makes the same mark on the door of room number 5 that was on the faces of those Vigies. Besides this, the symbol was also made on the recorder and even on Jonathan's diary. Coming close to the door, the 3 pray to the devil, and immediately the door opens and she sends Eddie inside, and the inside of the room is shown, which is not at all like before, but now it was a palace, and right in front of it stood a strange-looking creature. Hari is slowly moving towards her, and her face has completely changed. Even the same mark appears on her forehead, which she had during those days. When the head comes near the creature, 2 anti-clots come out from inside it, and the head immediately catches them. After this, the door opens and Hetty comes out in a completely normal condition. The 3 of them are very happy to see Hetty and put him to sleep in their room. But the strange thing was that creature was also present there with Hetty. After this, Harmon calls Hetty. Hetty does not remember anything. He was with her. He says there's a show on our station tonight and we need to meet before it. But Hetty refuses and turns off the phone. Lace is with the ID and keeping an eye on him. Then Frances Telly arrives at her house to meet her, and Lace is at the door. Hetty is not at home, but Hetty is at home. Lazy says that you come inside and wait for Hetty. Inside, the 3 sisters start asking him various questions. Hetty tells them that he is the same person whom he met at the radio station, and he also heard the recorder of the Lords of Salem there, and I have some important information which I have to give to Hetty. And from here, things start getting worse. Lazy is very rude to France. Prucci ignores it, but the situation was very bad. As he gets up to leave, Sony suddenly hits him on the head with a pen, causing him to fall down to the ground. Then she hits him a lot with the same pen and kills him. Then Harmon comes to take her for the night show. Again, the three of them are standing there. She stops him too, but Harmon keeps coming there and he does not stop and goes straight towards her room. He comes towards Hetty's room, knocks the door, and Lazy reaches there. Before doing anything, Hetty immediately comes there and she tells Hetty to tell every man to wait for you, and Hetty does the same. Every man is surprised. He asks Head, but he closes the door without saying anything. Then both of them go to the hall and Hetty enters the room alone and her round ends. Harmon is out, and once again we see the three sisters on stage. They are actually praying to the devil, and all 7 things follow them closely. Then the same music is played there, and all the audience sitting there comes towards the stage, and Hetty finds himself in a strange world. There is Juice there, and she catches Hetty, makes him lie down, and then performs a strange ritual. After this, Hetty gives birth to a child who turns out to be a devil. Seeing this, all the wishes become happy, and Hetty dies. But we are shown Hetty again, but now she is in goddess face. One day she is standing on the dead bodies of many women. After that, news comes that about 32 women have died. The dead bodies of all of them are present there, but Hedicine is not found there. She transforms into a vibe, and here the trial of Margaret reaches its conclusion. This means the devil is also born, and the daughters of Salang perish. She ascended to goddess status because she gave birth to Akshetra Tan. Now she has become like all the Vigis, and everyone will worship her as well. And thus the movie comes to an end.